Hey scientists, we are here to talk about the Earth and its layers. You'll notice that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 layers to the Earth. Now I know which layer we live on. We live on this outer layer here. What do you think that's called? Well, the Earth is surrounded by a thin layer called a crust. That's where we live. And this crust is solid, but it's made up of lots and lots of plates. Now, let's look inside to see what's surrounding that crust. Now, right here, you have the mantle. Here we have the outer core, and this right here is the inner core. I like to take a look at a hard-boiled egg to compare the Earth's crust using this. Let me crack this open. Okay, now you can see I am now made all these tiny little plates or cracks in my egg, which is called the crust. So this outer part of the egg is just like the Earth's crust right here. That's where we live. Now, if I was to peel that crust away, you would then be able to see the Earth's mantle. So this would be the mantle right here. If I was to use my scientific spoon here to look in even further, you would see the outer core, which is right here. If I cut that in half, you would be able to see a slightly darker spot in the middle, and that would be your inner core. So you have your crust, your mantle, your outer core, and your inner core. Those are the layers of the Earth. Now, let's take a little bit deeper look at the Earth's crust. Hey scientists, I'm back, and this time I'm out at a dig site. I'm helping a couple of my archaeologist friends. Those are scientists that deal with bones and fossils. Fossils. I wonder where those come from. Well, the crust, which is that outer layer of the Earth, which is where we live, is made of solid rocks and minerals that have been layered on top of each other over time. We find fossils in each one of these layers of the Earth's crust. Kind of like when we go to the beach and we find shells, right? Each layer, as we dig deeper into the sand, we'll find older items, older fossils. Now, the oldest fossils are closer to the mantle, so that means that they are down there pretty deep, while the newer fossils are on the surface or not so deep. Now, when we are looking for fossils and wondering how they are formed, they could be formed in several different ways, but most of them are formed when a plant or an animal dies in a watery environment and is buried in mud. They decompose, or they break apart and break down, leaving their hard bones or shells behind. Again, just like the shells you find at the beach. Now, over time, sediment builds over the top and hardens it to rock, producing a fossil. Let's take a look at a couple of my fossils that I found out here on a dig site. Now, I'm not quite sure what these fossils are. So I'm going to need to ask some of my archaeologist friends here to help me identify them. But check these out. Aren't they just the coolest? I wonder how old they are. I wonder what era they're from. Okay, well, I'll join you next week, and hopefully I can find some of my archaeologist friends to help us identify these fossils. See you next time, scientists.